Hey, what it do, baby? Welcome to Vegeta Saint Army. Thank you guys for liking, watching, subscribing. Thank you guys for sticking around. And lately, I've been a little busy. I started the career of my dreams. So I've been working. I've been at that job for a week now. And anytime I play Dragon Ball, it's usually getting ready for nationals. I want to make sure the team and I know what to play, what we're going to play, what people are going to play, what's the best deck to bring, especially depending on who's playing it, right? So thank you guys for sticking around, being patient with me. And in the meantime, on my downtime, I have been checking out the new green Vegeta leader. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the leader very quickly, over the deck very quickly, over sideboard or other options very quickly. And so I understand when the leader was first revealed, I even made some memes and comments about how bad he looked. A lot of people are saying that he is so bad, he is completely unplayable. And I totally get that, and that's fair. Now, when I make a video, usually I put on the title, get first place at locals with this, or like a deck I topped with, for an event or something. So I like to be very clear about what a deck does and what a deck can do. Now, this one is very interesting. Now, the bar is so low for this guy that I am excited. I'm dead ass, bro. Like, it's at the point where like the bar is so low, and I've tested it, and it's been doing so well that I'm just like giddy. I feel like. And if you're saying he's bad, like I totally get it. I see where you're coming from, and I'm not even saying he's good, because I don't like. We all judge, right? When we read a leader that just came out, we have to judge it. We can't help it, whether because as a good player like you are, you know what's good in this deck. You know that drawing is good. You know that certain effects are good. So when you read a leader, you can look at it and say how good or bad he is. However, I like to also test things, right, and sink my teeth into them. I've been testing Kaba, I've been testing Kale, building them a little bit. Me and Vegeta Saint Army boys with the time that we have, and just to get a real opinion on it, like an educated opinion, I guess. So anyway, so I get into this Vegeta, and he's been really good testing out. I predict he might be a good locals deck. Definitely a very fun deck, by the way. And you know what? I would not be shocked if one of the great players out there, one of you guys, does something with it, tops a major. This is not going to win Nets, and this is also not going to consistently top events. But given your matchups, given your experience, I think this deck really can. I feel like it's funny about how color identity comes into it, where let's say you're a red player. Let's say that your deck is a 3 out of 10 on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being horrible, unplayable, 10 being the best deck you've ever seen, right? And your deck's a 2. Let's say it's a 2. A 2 on red and a 2 on yellow is not the same. Because I feel like yellow, for example, is such a much more powerful color than other colors in its history and especially currently. And one of those things is also hand destruction. Like a deck that's bad with hand destruction, like okay, if you're a 2 out of 10 in red, you can't do shit with that deck. But if you're a bad like hand destruction deck, I think you can, with a lot of practice and like good testing, you could create something that could fuck with people. And I really, I'm not just saying this. I think this leader has a lot of great playlines, and let's go into it real quick, just to show you guys. Basically, the front side of the leader is once per turn. If one of your battle cards is removed by your opponent on their turn by a skill, they have to drop a card from their hand. That includes warping, that includes bottom decking, that includes negging, because it's a game mechanic once it leaves, right? So, but it's their skill that caused the negging. And anything bottom deck, warping, all of that shit. They have to drop a card from their hand. Activate battle. I actually use this more than I thought I would. Once per turn, you can give your leader a 5k pump for the battle if your life is less than or equal to your opponent's. Awaken. You can awaken when your opponent is awakened or when you're at 3 life or less. This is sick because he can awaken at like 8 life, and you'll be awakening at 8 life, 7 life, all the time. Now, here's something really cool that you can do with this leader. So I was in the Vegeta Saint Army testing chamber, the Discord, the webcam, and I was asking, everybody was there watching, and we were testing, and I'm like, I was playing against Red Vegeta. I had 2 energy, he had 2 energy, so he plays this Piccolo Unison, right? He awakens thereafter, obviously. That's the order of operations for turn 2 Red Vegeta. He swings with leader, draws, and then I say, no negates. Do you have any combos? And he said, no combo, auto. I'm going to give him my unison double strike, right? So he's at 15. And I said, great, I'm going to activate battle, give my leader 5k, awaken, make it 20k, and I can awaken because you're awakened now. So the attack will fizzle. And on the awakening, I draw 2, and then I take out a marker from his unison. So he's no longer double strike. Um, and now I also have a blocker for either the unison or what he's gonna do with the 2 energy he has up, and I use it. I use a blocker for the unison, bring out the ape, and now I go into turn 3 with an ape, and I can play a unison, I can Rosie, I can do whatever. But now that I'm on the awakened side, I can do so much more. So like I swing with the ape, and then he drops a card, right? Now I can swing with leader, and when the leader attacks, I can either take a marker out of a unison, or if they don't have a unison, I can choose to untap a great ape. So it just killed his unison right then and there. But in general, though, this is obviously an anecdotal example, but it explains the leader pretty well. It's sick because you can untap an ape, and they don't have unique, so you can have 2 of them. And they have blocker 20k, so they're beefy as well. They're going to have to tax their hand in order to get rid of them. And if they get rid of them in your turn, obviously, or in their turn, it's going to obviously take a card out of their hand and rip a card out of their hand. So when you swing with the leader, you're untapping an ape or you're removing a marker from a unison. This is really good. And then once per turn, he has the same effect from the backside, that if they remove one of your battle cards by a skill, they have to drop one. But additionally, you will draw a card as well. Now, like again, this leader doesn't draw a lot, so it's obviously a hand control leader, which is why I'm going mono green. I didn't even test the red green because honestly, that's for Raditz, like obviously. And the Gohan ape shit, it's just really bad. And like the Gohan ape, he can only it doesn't make sense how it has blocker, but it has to be removed by a skill. That's obviously for the Goku deck, right? So Cells Kamehameha at 4 of I have here. That's just like half of this deck is Cell Surge.deck. The other half is built to accommodate the Vegeta leader, which it does really well. Cells Kamehameha is a really good card defensively and offensively. Rosie, a Blast Manipulator at 2 of. She can go up to 3 of if you have the room. She's an incredible card. Played for 3 with Deflect, and your opponent has to drop 2 cards from her hand, and she's triple attack, right? So I like her a lot because, again, going for unisons, going for a battlefield, triple attack is really good. She's a good body. Surprise attack Frieza at 2 of, just because he's a free critical attacker, right? And I do not attack my leader. I'm sorry, I don't attack my opponent's leader unless I'm swinging with a critical attacker. And surprise attack Frieza is one of them, at least early on. Homicidal Clone's a 3 of because it is the best card in this deck. There's a lot of great busted battle cards in this game and unisons that are just rendered useless to these fucking token negates. Like somebody dropped a Kefla on me, like the new Kefla, and it's like a dual attack double strike or dual attack triple strike, I forget, but it's a really beefy big card. And they swung with it, and I was like, all right, Homicidal Clones. And the second attack, I had like 2 blockers on board. I was like, okay, well, fuck it, like block. So the deck has changed a lot in between all those games, but like that card has been there the whole time. Ribrianne at 4 of because it's the hand destruction, that deck card, right? Charismatic Villain Frieza, that card is a 4 of because we play a unison and because we're going into Deity's Wrath as well at turn 3 or later in the game. Newfound Power Son Gohan is your turn 1 play. It is the only turn 1 play you have in this deck. Excuse me, I just ate pizza. It's the guy you're gonna swing with because it's critical, so you can swing at the leader. It gives you a card to your hand, and the reason he's a turn 1 and not the field is because I have here the field at 4 of, right? Vegeta Elite Resolve at 4 and the ape at 3 of. You can go to 4 with the ape as well, but you don't want to play that turn 1. You want to play it turn 2 and you want to play the SR first as well, by the way. And this is because once you play the SR you play first because he plays the field from the deck. I mean, he grabs it, he puts it in your hand, but like, you play the field for free, so he basically plays the field from the deck. Also, like, you don't want to play turn 1 because if you do, then you don't have an energy open to play the ape. And this is the best ape out of this whole set of any green ape because this ape is like constant hand removal and it taxes your opponent. And like the other ones are just not as good, and this one just makes total sense. Also, this ape can get played if your opponent like removes the 1-drop with an effect, or if they KO it with him using blocker, which is very important. Um, so the Vegeta Powerball, when you play it, anytime at the end of the turn, anytime your turn ends, you untap one of your Great Apes, which is great because with the leader skill, remember, you don't have unique on this Vegeta ape, so if you have two of them on board, you can just untap one with leader, untap one with Vegeta's Powerball, and they're 20Ks, so they're hard to get over, right? Um, Also, what was I gonna say? If it's removed, you can tap one energy and bring it out from your hand. So you have several ways to bring it out if he's removed or if he's KO'd. Um, let's see, the Vegeta Elite Resolve also like doubles as a great tutor. Like if you look at the top five for a Saiyan that's three or less, you don't have a lot of targets for that, especially now because I used to use the Vegeta Super Combo, but it's a backup option. It's really good, especially if you're playing more of a critical amount of Saiyans in your specific transfiguration. Uh, and it's just really good. Again, the 20k is very beefy, very good, and and this is also worth noting, right? What makes Great Vegeta Embodied Might so good is the same thing that makes Samasu Deity's Wrath so good. It is, after it's played, it is free hand destruction every turn, right? So, like for example, turn 3, you want to play Rosie, that's your energy for the turn, right? They drop 2. And you're gonna get your opponent's hand down to 0 a lot in his deck. The weakness I see with this deck is finishing. Finishing the game is the real problem here. So what I mean is, once you get him down to 0, and you play Rosie for 3 energy, you don't have any more energy to Cells Kamehameha. You don't have any more energy to like Ribrianne. So you want free hand destruction. That way, when you swing at their leader and they grab that card from their life, you can use something that's free to rip it out of their hand. Because again, we do not swing at your opponent's leader unless it's critical, or if their hand is at 0. Because then, so you play Rosie, they drop the last 2 cards in their hand, you swing leader with Rosie, they get one from life, and then you swing at their unison with Great Ape Vegeta, and they drop that card, right? That's how you're playing this deck. It's very grindy. It's very long. It's control. You have to have patience with it. Another card in this deck I'm playing is Nappa the Intimidator. I really want to take him out because he is a horrible card. He's honestly awful, but in this deck, he's amazing. Every game, like if I get my opponent down to 0 cards, I'll swing with leader, they take that card, and I'll just play Nappa, they drop it, and then I swing with 15k crit. So like as bad as he is, dude, like I'm waiting for him not to be clutch because he's a 15k crit, and I love him, so I'm just waiting. Android 18 Bionic Blitz. Vegeta one drop is better. Don't get me wrong, and I may go back to him because he gives me an alternative one drop to play turn 1. Also, with the leader effect, he works perfectly. He makes your opponent drop a card when you play him, and then on the opponent's turn, if he gets like destroyed by a skill, your opponent drops another card, right? And if not, you can use him as a super combo to draw a card. Here's the thing, it's only good turn 1. On all of the other turns, you want to use your energy for Ribrianne, Rosie, Cells Kamehameha, the Ape. It's like you have a plan for your energy every turn. And it doesn't always fit Vegeta unless it's turn 1 and you don't have newfound powers on Gohan. Also, I get that Vegeta's tutorable with the one-drop Vegeta Elite Resolve. So look, if you run Vegeta Super Combo, I get it. You're right. If you do 2 and 2, you're right. If you do Android 18 Bionic Blitz, you're also right. Now, the reason I'm running Bionic Blitz is because it's just a free combo, and it's also live at 8 life. Because a lot of times your leader just awakens at 8 life. A lot of times it awakens at 7. So I love that she's live all the time, and she can rip a card every time, all the time. And I like that about her. I don't know, it's a little less risky to do Android 18. You get all the bang for your buck that you're paying with her. So she's a little bit less, a lower ceiling, but a higher floor, if that makes sense. Now, Fuse Samasu Deity's Wrath is amazing because you're playing it for 1 energy with Frieza Charismatic Villain. And again, he's on board. Once he hits the board, he is going to be free hand removal every turn. Him and the Great Ape together are amazing. Because, you want cheap hand destruction. Once after you Ribrianne, after you Naba, when you get your opponent's hand down to 0, you want something on board that's a free hand removal, like the Ape, like the Samasu, to make your opponent drop a card from her hand after you swing at their leader with a non-critical, and that's the way I've been playing the deck. And you want to end up finishing it with something a little more beefy. Like I'm running the Golden Frieza. What is it? Pinnacle of the Clan. Really good finisher in this deck because you have the field, obviously, and you have extra cards that you play, or you can pay a little more to play him. But he's double strike, deflect, and he untaps like you all know. You guys are familiar with him because of King Cold, and yeah, and he has removal like board ignoring barrier removal, and he does grab a card from your opponent's hand and makes him drop it. So like I played him once, swung, and they took two right for double strike, and what was I gonna say? And then I swung with the apes and it made him drop it, and I went for lethal because he was at two at this point. So you want a big finisher like him. At the end of the video, I'm gonna show you guys other options that you could use as well, other sideboard options, maybe you guys other cards that you may use as well. But I love the Frieza. Now, okay, now the secret rare I'm using is Heroine's Lineage. I will not fault you if you're using another card. I think the best one might be the Green Ape, not because I'm trying to theme or I'm trying to be cute, but I like that it is barrier removal, but it also doubles as a great finisher. That Green Ape is really good. Now, Lineage, I think, like as of right now, I'm liking a little bit more. If you have another secret rare, obviously that secret rare you can play that other secret rare. This leader isn't really tied to any secret rare, but I love the Heron's Lineage. It fits with the deck. I'm finding in my play, in my games, that the way that I'm taxing my opponent's resources forces them to go for a game with cards that they wouldn't usually. It puts my opponent in weird places that a lot of people just shadow play, like play with no one and then hop on tap or then go to a tournament. A lot of people, most people, like the competitive people are most people, right? And when they see a deck like Vegeta and it surprises them, I see them swinging with weird shit. And Heroine's Lineage is like the great hook after they take the bait from this deck. They go down on hand, their unison's not doing so well, and my life is really low. Let's go for game with this like 5-drop without the barrier, right? So Lineage is a really good card to snipe it back. Again, the Ape is sweet too, though, but Kai SCR as well. Honestly, any secret rare that you have, you can put in this deck. Further Destruction Champa is the best finisher in the game. I love to use it on a critical attacker as well. The King Vegeta Unison, really good. 3-drop, 19k. So it's basically a 20k on defense, 15k on offense. The +1 is insane. You sells Kamehameha your opponent's hand for free every turn, or you can take out a card ignoring barrier. That's really fucking good. The +X or the -X is really good. So you take out as many markers as you want, and as many markers as you took out, that's how many cards you're KOing from your opponent's field. That's broken. So you want to take. So let's say you have 4 markers, right? That's realistically what you do. You take out all the markers from that unison. You leave them down to 1. You pass, and then when your opponent swings, you can negate and spirit boost, take him to 0, and play a new King Vegeta Unison for 3 now. So that's a really sick play you guys can do. This Unison's really broken. And then Son Goku, Man on a Mission. I know I like Toa better, usually. But this leader, like, really likes Man on a Mission because, like, like, just him being 20k double crit. Like, I've had games where, like, like, he has 1 card in hand, and I'll swing at his Unison, and like he drops the last one, and I'll play Man on a Mission, go for double crit, take him down to 2, and now double strike Champa is just like wins the game with anything, right? So that's a really good play, man. As far as what cards you can also play, or what cards you can sideboard, or some budget options for the deck. And again, this deck will change. It has changed a lot. This is just like my current like configuration. This is not going to be the way the deck is forever. One really funny play I like to do is Hidden Power of the Saiyans. If you're playing against blue yellow, you can, if you're going to locals or something, or you have a friend that plays Goku, Goku Black, Rose, the 4-drop blue yellow. If you Hidden Power of the Saiyans, that card, he'll have to drop 8 cards from hand, because not on the battle card Goku Rose, but if you target window 1 of the tokens, they have to play the tokens. So like they have to drop 2 cards for each of the tokens being played. Also for Obuni. So Hidden Power of the Saints is a really good hand destruction card that's really funny. Blue Impulse. Really good. I've been actually using this card a lot. I used it on a friend of mine when he played Oh boy, what counterplay? I think he played a Raider's Warcry on me, and I was like, Blue Impulse, blew up his entire board for 1 energy. And then also, the thing is, like, a lot of people are playing AOD nowadays. A lot of people are playing shit that plays battle cards on your turn. Uh, the new SS4 Xeno Saiyan's deck is going to be coming in a comeback. That deck plays definitely a lot of battle cards on your turn. But like my favorite one is when they play a Kai secret rare on your turn to try to like stop your leader from doing his, because his skill is only when he attacks. So if they play Kai SCR on your turn, you just blue impulse, and it's like the funniest thing for 1 energy, and it's cheap. Like that's funny thing. Now Super 17, the Infernal Machine is another horrible card. I don't recommend you use this ever unless it's on a deck like this, just because like I know he doesn't have deflect or barrier, but if your opponent's hand is low enough, I was actually mainboarding this before I put in Frieza. You play it, your opponent drops 2, and you drop 2, but you play this when they're at lethal, right? And then you swing, and his attack can't be negated. So he's just like a cute card you can play in your deck. I recommend. I actually won games with it. It's really as bad as it is. Again, cards get better if your opponent has no resources to KO them or counterplay them, obviously. And again, like this deck is so good at taking out markers from a unison that like Charismatic Frieza won't work, Dazio won't work, and if they have 2 cards in hand and you drop them down to 0 and you swing with Super 17, like it's a problem, right? Um, okay, so another thing that you can do, a good sideboard card is the Super Saiyan Bardock Paternal Unison. If you're playing against yellow or a rival's making a comeback, if you're playing against any deck that might combo in a problem, like AOD combos in, whatever, you can play Bardock Paternal Unison and you can just like kill their combo step, right? If a lot of decks, their only answer to Green Vegeta might be the combo phase, that's when you bring this guy in. Also, the plus one can KO like a Newfound Power Gohan or the one drop Vegeta super combo if you choose to play him, and they drop a card from her hand, which is really cool. And it also like doubles as a finisher if you give him triple attack and 5k with the -3. I know I'm going in reverse order here, but Raditz Invader from afar. If you're not gonna have money to buy the King Vegeta, this guy's actually not bad because it the +1 makes you drop a card from your hand, and your opponent does as well. So if you have more cards than your opponent, you can do this, drop a Ribrian, and then your leader gets critical, which is super useful. The -5 is your opponent chooses 3 cards from her hand and discards them. So the King Vegeta is much better. I just wanted to bring this guy up because giving your leader critical is really good, or giving him critical, obviously. So it's really helpful. Also, he's a 20k all the time. Metacooler or Terrifying Horde gives you a secondary option. Like this is like a Planeswalker that's making you draw every turn, which would really help this leader if you want to give him a unison that draws a lot, right? Once per turn, you're just going to play a token that's 15k with 0 cost combo that's 5k combo. That's really helpful. And then +1, you drop a card and you draw 2. So all of these abilities to make you drop a card is really good because you can also drop an extra card to make the what is it called, man? The Golden Frieza Pinnacle of the Clan. So you dropping an extra card is cool because you can make him live and cheaper the next turn, but also you can drop a Ribrian, right? And which is easy to so you can make your opponent drop a card, and they're all like +1, which I like. Other options are the Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan, the Son Goku, the True Fighting Spirit, the Koitsuka. You guys know what these cards do. They neg your opponent's hand if they're using counters, if they're playing battle cards that are 15k or less with non-keyword skills, or if they're simply playing battle cards on your turn that are 20,000 power or less. So these are just sideboard cards you can use if you're playing a deck and you want to tax their hand. And these 3 fit many decks that are famous in the meta right now. I think Koitsuka is one of the most underrated cards in the game. I think that the players know how good it is, but nobody talks about it enough. So, do you guys have any ideas about this deck? I hear a lot about yellow green, right? Yellow green Arrival, because then now you can put draw apes and Arrival like the Krillin 18, right? A lot of people like the red green. I don't know why, but a lot of people are doing different colors, different things with the deck. What would you do? What would you like the deck to do? And I'm gonna keep playing him. I'll keep you guys updated on what he does. But I love it. It's really fun, really interesting. and he's an underdog, which is another reason I like him a lot. I feel like again the bar is really low for him, and I'd like to see how far we can take him. Let me know what you guys are doing with him, what you guys think about the video, and I hope this at least helps one of you. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.